children of Standard 6. Today we are going to see about lesson 5. Earth is not round but it is elliptical in shape, and it is round. You can just generally we say round, but it is elliptical in shape. So now this was a proof given by the astronaut. Some of the in your textbook there are many astronauts from foreigner, from Indians. So in your book Indian astronauts names are given: Rakesh Sharma, Kalpana Chawla, Sunita Williams, who went to the space. Understand this? This said that Earth is elliptical. Understand? So now we are going to see that on the, you have seen globe. I have shown you globe. So on the Earth, the lines, there are imaginary lines are being made. With the help of these, location and timings are being set. It is came to know that the horizontal line which passes from east to west, they are called latitudes. So there are total 181 latitudes. Now in the middle there is dark imaginary line which is called equator. So, and on the top of that and down there is Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. North Pole and South Pole. North Pole is called Arctic and South Pole it can be called Antarctic Circle. And where it is covered with white sheet, there is no life existence on the Earth because there are icebergs are there and ice sheets. So 6 months day and 6 months night. So life cannot exist. Life can exist only on Tropic of Cancer, Equator and Tropic of Capricorn. Here, this shows, latitude shows the location of the country, where our country locates. Suppose now, Tropic of Cancer, India lies in the Tropic of Cancer, and whichever country lies on this equator, the places are very hot, and where Tropic of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer, there are temperature is neither too hot neither too cold. So this is about the latitude. Now we are going to see about longitude. The vertical lines, there are total 360 longitude. In the middle line and the side, it is also called prime meridian. The other two sides, there are 180 degrees and 180 longitudes are there. So this is very important. Even longitudes are very important because it shows the timing. You know, you are having different timings. Today you have to come to school at suppose 7:30. So you see the time. Time is very necessary for each and every step. Lunch. So lunch time, what you are having? What is your dinner time? So it is the longitude which shows. Our timing is being set from Greenwich, and every country has their own standard time. That is called local time. Suppose Allahabad is India's Allahabad, where it is standard time and local times are set. Now suppose in Palanpur it is 8 o'clock. Now if you phone your friend is suppose in Mumbai, if you ask them what is in your watch your time, she also or he also says 8 o'clock, because the standard time is all same all over the India. Now so this is the longitude. We set our time. This is time set and this is the location of the place. So this shows the location of the place, latitude and longitude. Again one figure is that there are 3 zones. Zones are there. Please, torrid zone, upper part is temperate and temperate zone, frigid zone and frigid zone. Torrid zone, whatever the countries are, torrid means what? Very heat place. So it is 0 degree temperature. Now temperate 23 degree and frigid zone is 6.5 degree, and these are the angles. Frigid zone, it lies on the angle 66.5 degrees. So frigid zone, frigid means what? Ice. There are ice sheets are there. Torrid means very high. Temperature means neither too cold, neither too hot. Summer are very hot and winters are very cold. So these two are very important about this. And on this base, we are having there 7 continents and 5 oceans. Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Australia, Antarctica. These are all the continents. Now ocean. Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. These all are Arctic Ocean and Arctic Ocean. These all are oceans names are given. So there are 7 continents and total 5 oceans. In your textbook, if you are having textbook, if you are having PDF, draw in your notebook about the continents and you can mark this about continents and ocean. Now I have shown you this on the board work. Now we are going to see on the screen.
In this module, you will learn about the different celestial bodies that adorn our sky.
Celestial bodies. Sun, moon and stars. So, these are called celestial bodies.
Looks like the moon is in its full bloom. It is a full moon night. That's when one side of the moon is completely visible to us. In Hindi, a full moon night is called.
So, you know about, you are studying about full moon day and new moon day. Full moon day means Chandra full hota hai, or new moon day means at that time the 15 days, fortnight we can say. 15 days there is dark and 15 days there is light about the moon. So this is called full moon, or we can say Purnima also. And new moon day means Amavasi. We can say that is called, that time we cannot see the moon.
Purnima. Over the next 15 days, the moon will gradually appear smaller. On the 15th day, the moon will not be seen at all. A night without a moon or a no moon night is called a new moon night. In Hindi, a new moon night is called Amavasya. Generally, a new moon night is the perfect time for stargazing, especially if the sky is clear. The night sky is full of innumerable twinkling bodies. These bodies are called stars. From the earth, stars look like tiny sparkling diamonds. However, in reality, they are very, very big and hot. Stars are made up of gases and emit large amounts of heat and light.
We can say stars looks very small because they are very far from us. So they look. Actually they are very big in size and they are full of gases and emit the heat and light.
On observing closely, we can see that some stars are brighter than the others. It's probably because these stars are closer to the Earth. Do you know the star that is closest to us? The Sun. Yes, it is a very, very big and bright star made up of extremely hot gases. The Sun is the star closest to us. Just to give you a sense of the distance, sunlight reaches us in 8 minutes. Whereas light from the next closest star, the Proxima Centauri, takes 4 years to reach the Earth. Like the Sun and the Proxima Centauri, clusters of billions of stars along with dust and gas are bound together by gravity. Such clusters of stars are called galaxies.
See, you have seen stars, single stars also you can say. Sometimes you can see at night there are clusters together. So it is called cluster and that is called galaxy.
Millions of galaxies together make up our universe. During ancient times, it was observed that some stars did not twinkle. They just glowed steadily. These celestial bodies were called the wandering stars. Today, we recognize these bodies as planets. The word planet originated from the Greek word planetary, which means wandering stars. A planet moves around a star along a fixed path. It does not have its own heat and light. So, how does it glow?
Glow means, what do you mean by glow? Glow means light, Dena. How they can glow? Planet has no light. Even star does not have their own light. It takes the light from the sun. That is called luminous. So, they also don't have the light. So, the planet moves around the sun and moon moves around the earth. So, everything are moved and even the sun moves around it, galaxy. So, this is about this.
A planet receives heat and light from the star around which it moves. Planets are generally smaller compared to the stars. Our Earth is also a planet. It moves around the sun, which is a star. Along with the Earth, there are 7 other planets that move around the sun in fixed paths. Some planets have other celestial bodies moving around them. These celestial bodies are called satellites. The moon moves around the Earth. It is the Earth's satellite. People have been observing stars in the night sky for many decades. It was observed that different groups of stars formed unique and beautiful patterns.
See, some stars are, the group of stars are called constellation. So, you know, there are different types of stars are formed. Some are W or M. So, that star constellation, there are different, in GK also, you can study about this constellation of stars, and these stars names are kept from the rishis. So these all you can see now about.
These patterns were given a common name, constellations. There are in all 88 constellations known to man. The constellation seen here is called the Ursa Major or the Big Bear. It is one of the most well-known and easily recognizable constellations. Within a constellation, small star patterns can also be observed. These star patterns are called asterisms. One such asterism is formed by the 7 brightest stars of the Ursa Major. This asterism is called the small bear or the Saptarishi.
So this is called Saptarishi, small bear. Sometimes it looks like flying kite also. It is the other name for that. How it looks? It is looking like flying kite. So this is called Saptarishi. Saptarishi means it is named after the Rishi. So these are how your names are being kept. On these stars, your names are being kept. On which from which when you are born. So how which stars are there on that? So with that help of you can get your name of that?
In Hindi. Saptarishi means the 7 sages. With the help of the Saptarishi, we can locate a very important and famous star. The 2 stars that form the edge of the bear's bow are called the pointer stars. Let's draw an imaginary line passing through the pointer stars. The line directly points to another famous star called the Polaris or the Pole Star. All other stars appear to change their position due to the Earth's rotation. However, the Polaris seems to remain aligned to the Earth.
See, you can see the pole star even from the Earth also. When you get up at 4 or 5 o'clock, dark, one big star is being seen, and that star is called pole star. It remains in its position. There are no movement of this, but other stars move. So this is called pole star.
Earth's North Pole. This is the reason why the Polaris is also called the North Star. In ancient times, people used to locate the north direction with the help of the Polaris.
See, first there was no time. Now everyone are having watch, and we are not needed to see in the sky at what time it is and what it is. So if you see the time, you will know that early time, noon time and night time. So it was not very necessary to see, but at that time people used to watch, understand the sky and come to know that approximately it may be 8 o'clock or it may be 9 o'clock. So with the help of this pole star, it is in the north. When they used to see, they come to know that what is the time about it. In Hindi, the Polaris, it is also called Dhruva Tara. Means what? It was the one of the same. It is named after this. Dhruva Tara, it is a name after, pole star is named after name.
The Polaris is called the Dhruva Tara. Looks like the sun is back. So, where did the moon, the stars and the planets go? Actually, they are very much here. Except that they have been outshined by the sun. The sun's light is very, very bright. Hence, the other celestial bodies pale off and are barely visible to the naked eye. However, if you watch,
during daytime, you cannot watch moon and stars because how they are, because of the very brightness of the star. So it is that they are hidden, but actually the stars are, it does not mean that it is invisible, but they are there in their own position, but we cannot see with them with our naked eyes. So this is about this.
Carefully, you may be able to see the moon during the day. The planet Venus is another celestial body that can be seen during the day.
Yes.
Venus is also called the morning star. The sky never ceases to fascinate. A night when one side of the moon is completely visible from the earth is called a full moon night or Purnima.
See, these all are recap. So when you are when you are observing video, sit with your notebook and all the recaps you write one by one.
A night when the moon is not at all visible from the earth is called a new moon night or Amavasya. Stars are very big and hot celestial bodies that are made up of gases. They emit large amounts of heat and light. Stars closer to the earth appear brighter. Unique and beautiful patterns formed by groups of stars are called constellations. Then, in this module, you will learn about latitudes and how they are used to divide the Earth into various heat zones. There was a time when ships were used for transporting horses from Spain to the West Indies. Each horse was allowed 1,350 pounds of stores and water every 5 days. There was a particular stretch of ocean where the ships used to almost become stationary due to the absence of winds. This would severely prolong the voyage, resulting in shortage of water and provisions. You know what the crew did in such cases? They threw the horses overboard. To this day, this stretch of ocean is referred to as the horse latitudes. So, what are these latitudes that we are talking about? Latitudes are imaginary lines that run from west to east, ranging from 0 to 90 degrees.
So this is the definition. Latitudes are the imaginary line that run from west to east globe, ranging from 0 to 90 degree. So there are degree measures are there. 0 degree equator is there, and north there are temperate and here temperate. So I have explained you on the board about Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of this Capricorn, and 90 degree and 90 degree North Pole and South Pole.
Remember the axis of the Earth that you learned about earlier? There is another imaginary line on the globe that divides it into 2 equal parts. This line at the 0 degree latitude is called the equator. The equator divides the Earth into the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere.
So upper part is called northern hemisphere and southern part is called hemisphere, and between line is called equator.
The north and south poles are at 90 degrees from the equator. This is because the distance from the equator to the poles is 1/4 of the circle around the Earth. A circle being 360 degrees, 1/4 of the circle is 90 degrees. Each latitude is followed by the letter N or S. What do you think that denotes? N stands for north and S for south. The letter N or S with the latitude indicates whether it is located in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. For example, Amsterdam is located at 52.22 degrees in latitude, which means it is in the northern hemisphere. Places at different locations may have the same latitude, but may be north or south of the equator. In other words, they may be located in the northern or the southern hemisphere. For example, Los Angeles and Sydney are both on latitude 34 degrees. However, Los Angeles is in the northern hemisphere and Sydney is in the southern hemisphere.
So some places are I said you that latitude, with the help of the latitude, we come to know about the location of the countries. Los Angeles, it is said that in the northern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere, Sydney is, suppose it is a country which lies in the southern hemisphere. So location, so latitude, with the help of this latitude, we can come to know about the location.
Apart from the equator, the 0-degree latitude, the important parallels of latitude are Tropic of Cancer, which is located 23.5 degrees north. Tropic of Capricorn, which is located 23.5 degrees south. Arctic Circle, which is located 66.5 degrees north. And Antarctic Circle, which is located 66.5 degrees south. Did you know, for many centuries, seafarers, including Magellan and Columbus, used their knowledge of latitudes to navigate the globe?
See, who were the person to know about the latitude? When they are the sailors, Magellan and Columbus, these two are the sailors. It was they that they found that our earth is round, and also they showed us that with the help of latitude navigate the globe. When they circled, they roamed all over the world by the sea routes. They were the person who said us about the degree, that where it lies. Seafarer they can say. So these two persons who have gave us the knowledge of latitude.
Before we go further, let's look at some basic features of latitudes. As you may have noticed, the lines of latitudes are parallel to each other. Therefore, they are called parallels of latitudes. These lines become shorter as you move up towards the poles and end at 2 points, the North and the South Pole.
So here it is shown that as in the middle,
Parallels of latitudes.
it is in the broad equator. As you go up, it declines. So it is called North Pole. And when you go from equator to south side, it is called South Pole. Again the lines have been declined.
Also determine the climatic zones of the world. Let's see how latitudes impact weather. The temperature decreases gradually from the equator towards the poles. That's because the angle of the sun's rays on the surface of the earth increases as we go away from the equator. Thus, the intensity of the sun's rays decreases with an increase in latitude. Let's look at this phenomenon in detail. The areas between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn receive the maximum heat. The midday sun is positioned exactly overhead at least once a year on all latitudes that lie in this area. Therefore, the belt between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn is called the torrid zone. The intensity of the sun's rays goes on decreasing as we move towards the poles.
So, directly the sun rays falls on this equator to some countries or places, they are very hot. But as the sun rays decreases, as we go further to Arctic Circle, Tropic of Cancer, and down here Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle, so there are not too hot, neither it is too cold.
Therefore, if you go between the Tropic of the Northern Hemisphere and between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle in the Southern Hemisphere, you will encounter temperate weather, that is, moderate temperatures. These areas with temperate weather are called temperate zones. Now, what portion of the globe is left? The areas between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole, and between the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. The sun's rays in these areas have a huge slant. Therefore, you will find these areas freezing cold. Guess what they are called? Frigid zones, of course. In fact, these zones are so cold that the poles are covered by ice caps. Before we finish, aren't you curious to know why latitudes were so popular as tools for navigating the globe? It is relatively easier to determine the latitude at a particular place by using celestial bodies and their movements as reference points.
So it is easier to determine latitude at a particular place by using celestial body as a reference point. It means that it was very necessary for the ship sailor to know about the latitude. Other ship, if they move forward, they used to wreck, and so the ship was broken, and this was very difficult for the navigable who goes by the sea and goes. And it is also very important now, export and import which are done by the sea routes. It is also very necessary for them to know about the latitude of this.
In this module, you will learn about the concept of longitudes. If you look at this globe, you will notice those lines running from the North Pole to the South Pole. The Earth actually doesn't have such lines. These are imaginary lines called longitudes.
This is the definition of longitude. Okay?
Why do we need longitudes? How do they help us? As you already know, sailors often used parallels or latitudes to navigate. However, until the 17th century, sailors faced a difficult technical problem during navigation in the sea. How can you find out where you are if land is not visible? After all, water looks the same almost everywhere. Let's look at an example. If you look at this world map, you will observe that New York and Madrid lie on the same latitude, 40 degree north. However, as you can see, Madrid is located to the east of New York. Suppose you were on a ship somewhere between your starting point, New York, and the destination point, Madrid. How will you tell where you are? Would you be able to pinpoint the location of Madrid correctly using just the latitude of Madrid? Not really. As you can see, in order to determine the location of a place accurately, we need the values of both the horizontal and the vertical lines running through that place. This problem was solved by the English clockmaker John Harrison by devising the concept of longitudes.
It was
Note
the John Harrison who said us about this longitude. Means it shows us about the time. So they can know that navigator, they can know the exact time, and we also need the time. So it is the longitude which help us to know about this time.
latitude and the longitude of a place, we can determine the location of that place on the globe. Did you know? If you plot the lines of latitude and longitude on a map, you get a grid pattern. This is called the Earth grid or graticule. Longitudes are also known as meridians. The
other name for longitude is also meridian. If it is said meridian, don't confuse with that. It is the other name for longitudes.
word meridian means midday. All the places situated on a particular longitude have their noon at the same time. Therefore, they are called meridians of longitude. These lines, along with latitudes, enable us to locate different places on the globe. For example, Dhubri in Assam is located at 26 degrees north latitude and 90 degrees east longitude. Let's look at the characteristics of longitudes. Distances between longitudes are measured in degrees of longitude. Each degree is further divided into minutes and minutes into seconds. Longitudes are semicircular in shape. The distance between longitudes reduces as they move towards the poles. At the poles, the distance between the longitudes is 0. 1 degree of longitude is the longest at the equator, 111 kilometers. At 45 degree line.
So it is called that equator. The distance between equator and one other longitude, it is 101. And distance between longitude, each longitude, latitude, the difference between is 101. And
Longitude, it is 79 kilometer. It is shortest at the poles where all meridians meet. The distance at the poles is 0 kilometer. All longitudes are of equal length. The 0 degree longitude passes through Greenwich and is called the prime meridian.
see, the 0 degree longitude passes through Greenwich and it is called prime meridian. So we can see about here prime meridian.
There is an interesting background to the prime meridian. You have already learned that all meridians are of equal length. So, the problem was, how would you number the meridians? Where would you start? To determine a starting point, all countries reached an agreement that meridians should be counted from the meridian that passed through Greenwich. Greenwich is where the British Royal Observatory is located. The prime meridian divides the Earth into the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. The longitude of a place is followed by the letter E or W. This letter denotes whether the longitude is east, or west of the prime meridian. This also indicates the hemisphere in which the longitude is located. Whether you're going towards east or west from Greenwich, if you travel across 180 degrees of longitudes, you will arrive at the same spot. In other words, 180 degrees east meridian and 180 degrees west meridian are the same. If you cross the 180 degree longitude, the calendar date changes. The imaginary line on the earth that separates two consecutive calendars.
See here, total there are 360 meridians, we can say, or longitude. So, eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere. So, suppose when we can say that the sun faces toward now India, so we are having now daytime. Suppose the other part is night time. So, what happened? Even the date also changes. Today we are having 9 and there it is 10. So, date changes from eastern hemisphere to western hemisphere.
Today's is called the International Date Line. The date in the eastern hemisphere to the left of the line is always one day ahead of the date in the western hemisphere. To avoid having two different dates in the same country, the International Date Line has been made to bend at several places. Therefore, on maps and globes, you will find that the 180 degrees longitude is a zigzag line. What do you think are the differences between longitudes and latitudes? Latitudes are horizontal lines on the globe that run west to east, whereas longitudes are vertical lines that run north to south. Latitude lines run parallel to the equator and to each other. Therefore, they measure the distance north or south of the equator. Longitude lines, on the other hand, are not parallel lines. Therefore, they do not run parallel to the prime meridian. They measure the distance east and west of the prime meridian. Values of latitude range from 0 degree at the equator to 90 degree north or 90 degrees south at the poles. Values of longitude range from 0 degrees at the prime meridian to 180 degrees east or 180 degrees west. The lines of latitudes get shorter as we move towards the poles. At the two poles, latitudes become points. Longitudes, on the other hand, are all of equal length. All longitudes converge to meet at the poles.
So now you have studied about difference between latitude and longitude. You will observe these properly and carefully. Okay? Thank you.